What's good, everybody? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. So, how many of you remember Ayesha Curry when, Steph Curry was coming out of Davidson and they were a young couple? And man, she seemed to be like the perfect domestic housewife. I don't mean to be rude when I say that. That's the image that she gave off. She's a great cook. She's a great wife. She likes to stay in the house and all of those things. And a lot of black men were like, wow, this is what I actually want. I actually want somebody like this. Is interesting. Why can't I get somebody like that? It actually restored some faith into some of the younger brothers when we saw Ayesha Curry, because, it just seemed like very classy lady, somebody that, you could be proud of and many other things. Then Ayesha Curry took somewhat of a shift. I don't know, as she's hanging out with Gabrielle Union too much or other celebrities. Then she went through this real big phase of, taking photos half naked, losing a lot of weight and, kind of becoming somewhat of a semi-city girl. And a lot of us black men were like, yo, what's going on with Steph Curry, man? Like, he's staying the same. She's changing a lot, a whole lot. And, a lot of brothers are like, yo, man, he needs to do something about this before it gets too late. And what it appeared to be to me that she was really looking for the attention of other guys. She even said so on a show, like, hey, I'm jealous that my husband gets all of this attention, which she hates, but she wanted a lot of attention for herself. And I mean, she really came out with the swimsuits and all of that, and it was a different branding for her than what we realized. Now she's pregnant with their fourth child at age 34. All right. And I think they're hoping to have finally a boy. They've had 3 girls. And she's upset with these doctors. Why is she upset with these doctors? And now I believe it would be obstetrics, right? OBGYN, which is usually both. Gynecology is for female issues, but obstetrics is birth. She's being told that basically she's experiencing a geriatric pregnancy. Geriatric meaning old, okay? And she says this: what's been interesting has been my doctor's appointments. I'm in my 30s. So there's all this paperwork referring to the experience as a geriatric pregnancy and all of the concerns that come along with that. She says this: I think there's something that needs to be more nuanced when it comes to women, their age, and conversations around having children. Many women in their 30s and 40s are going through this for the first time, and being told you're old feels alarming and wild. I think the narrative needs to be shifted a little bit. So let me talk to you, Ayesha Curry, because 34 is not old. We understand that 34 is not old, but 34 is older to have a child, okay? And certain risks come with having a child at that age. Let me give you another example, which you might not understand, but let me tell you something so you won't get upset. The Miami Dolphins have a running back by the name of Raheem Mostert. How old is Raheem Mostert? Raheem Mostert is 31 years old. For a person that's young, he is definitely young, okay? He's young. However, is it safe to say that for a running back in the NFL, he is old? I know that you don't like that. I know you have a problem with that narrative, but he is old, okay? For a running back, that is old in the NFL. The great Marcus Allen went to the Kansas City Chiefs at age 33. Remember, he sat the bench behind Bo Jackson for many years, had a real big problem with Al Davis, one of the greatest running backs of all time, played to Kansas City until he was 37. That is archaic in the NFL at 37. Archaic. Completely what? Old. I hate to say it, but it's true. That is old. Okay? Now, we don't have to really like that if we don't want, but it's old. As you get older, you have more injuries. You can recover from injuries later. I'm 42. Some idiot tried to grab my phone the other night out here in Uganda, it's like last month, and he was unsuccessful, but he damn near broke my pinky. If this was like 20 years ago, this would have been healed up quite fast. But at 42, going on 43, Want to know what I am? I'm old when it comes to injuries. Not as old as somebody 70, but still old. All right? It just means that it is what it is. I'm younger than some people, older than some others. What you're trying to do is you want to feel good about, being 34, which you're not old. It's a geriatric pregnancy because typically women that have children around that age face certain things. And now it all makes sense where these pictures were coming in, right? I think, and now I see it now. What Ayesha Curry is dealing with is a certain level of insecurity. So, and you see this with, ladies who don't want to use the old word, Tia Mowry. You see it with Tracy Ellis Ross, Mary J. Blige, Keisha Cole. I mean, there was a picture they put up, like, this was me 20 years ago. Look at how she looks now. It's just to start to say, well, I'm still young. Young for what? We all are going to die. We're going to expire, whether you like it or not. Okay? 34 is quite young. To some people, it's quite old. So a geriatric pregnancy should not change because one person feels uncomfortable. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. So what's the problem? It just means that you could experience certain, you're going to be 35 when you have the kid, and that's when those things come about. It's not to be something that is, let me just say this. It's not to be something that is insulting, right? That could just be like, my grandmother, I'll give you an example with her. My grandmother is damn near 90. They wanted to put her, anybody in the Baptist church, they wanted to put her on this thing called the Mother's Board, which is pretty much the church mothers. They don't really have so much of a role now, but back in the day they would do things, helping the young women in the church, things like food, things like, a lot of organizing for ladies and things supporting, deacons. Now you have a term called deaconesses, things like that. They wanted to put her on there. She was like, no, that's for old women. At the time she was 70. Well, I mean, okay, you're 70. That doesn't mean that it's bad. I mean, thank God you made it to 70. So I don't know why she was trying to be young. And at the same time, when they see young women and young people, they're so critical of them. I just don't get it. So Ayesha Curry, I feel like, this whole thing of making doctors change their language when, again, they're 34 is older for being pregnant. That's why medical doctors recommend a certain age range to experience optimal situations in pregnancy. Okay? This has been happening since humans have been living all around the world. All right? This is something that happens everywhere. You hear the terminology everywhere. I went to medical school. There are certain things that are more likely to happen if someone that is 40 or 36 or 37 has a child in comparison to a woman who's like 20, 24. That's why they say have your kids when you're in that age grade. There's a reason for that. When you don't want to do it, it's still okay. But this language just means you're older in this particular level of pregnancy. Not to talk about you as an individual. That's something that you're dealing with. That's not what they're dealing with. It's a medical term. If biology wasn't what it is, then if you started having medical problems more or less when you're 50 in pregnancy, there would not be a term called geriatric pregnancy. Do you see what I'm saying? So guys, what do you think? It's your boy, Shirley Jackson. Back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. I appreciate you for all you do. Subscribe to the bell. We're out.